Let's get down to the New York Stock Exchange. Jim Cramer joins us now. Jim, we kid around. I like boomer arguments sometimes, so I'm arguing with these young whippersnappers. You know, Barry Bonds versus Bobby Bonds, Ken Griffey Sr. versus Ken Griffey Jr. You remember Disney before Eisner took over, and they were up Schitt's Creek, which I'm allowed to say because it's a TV show. Remember Gibson Greetings? They were going to buy Arvida, and then Frank Wells and Michael Eisner came in. Do you remember what that stock did for the first 10, 12, 15 years of Michael Eisner, Jim? Do you remember it went up? It seemed like it went up every day.
I was hoping that, that terrible helicopter accident, Frank
Wells.
He was amazing.
Well, did Iger, what's the total return, Iger, Disney return, and total Eisner return? I guess Eisner had that, Mike Santoli points out that he had trouble picking a successor, and it churned around for a few years. But I just remember that Disney was not Disney before Eisner took it. It turned into what it is today under Michael Eisner, I think.
Well, there was that famous meeting in Philadelphia where Shamrock came after them, and I think they kind of addressed the Disney approach. But then, let's accept the fact that it is the most iconic name. My child just owns it. It seems to be undervalued over the long term, but over the short term, the headwinds are just, like you wake up and there's just another park that's closed or whatever. The news headlines have been just terrible, but the product is unassailably great.
Yeah. So Iger did do, it was unclear what was going to happen with Pixar, and then you get Star Wars, you had some of the other, but it seemed like paid top dollar for all that stuff, but it grew into those valuations and was a pretty good move. What's going on with Chapek right now? That's what started all this. The
Chapek, that's an open question. This kind of, what happened last week, I think, is very sad because there's a lot of people who view Disney as being the most forward-looking place in terms of gay lesbian, and this was a black mark, definitely a black mark. But I do think that what Iger did was he bought all these brands, all these different movies, and now he's monetizing them, and it's working. It's just that we had a kind of a pandemic there that made it more difficult to go to the movies.
Right. It could all have been the brand. It could all have been different if they stuck with Mortimer Mouse instead of Mickey Mouse.
Interesting. Well, look, could this be like Starbucks? Could it be like Starbucks when suddenly out of nowhere Howard Schultz comes back? I don't know. Anything can happen with Disney.